Howdy y'all, welcome to the homestead. So it is a couple days after Christmas. We still got ridiculously unseasonably warm weather, but it's not gonna last. It's gonna turn on us here tomorrow. We should dip back down to where we should be, or maybe even a little lower than we should be for our averages, but we're gonna take advantage of the weather right now. Today, as much as I'd like to continue on the barn, and I want to, in order to do that, I also have to get Holly back from our neighbors. She's been over there for over a month now. She should have been bred if she was gonna do it this cycle, but it's time to bring her home. In service to that, you've seen in some other videos, we've been moving the sheep around. I don't want her to have access to this area here that's outside of this area, but over there where we've been grazing, we've had the sheep on there, we've had Holly on there. I want to give that area more time to rest. So it's kind of hard to see from here, but if you look back out there, I've got the sheep way out there in the area that Holly used to have. That's fresh grass for them. And I've also got the white tape all the way to that corner there that I cleaned out yesterday, so that that fence goes all the way, so she can have access to the entire rest of our property except for this area over here that goes over by the solar panels. Yeah, she'll still have access to an area where she has been grazed and where the sheep were. I'm not overly concerned about that because I don't know that that's going to be a regular rotational grazing area. We're still working this through, so I'm not as worried about that. And again, this is kind of temporary as we're transitioning to having a more regular rotation and paddock setup and everything. Still trying to go back and forth between having regular paddocks or just having it stay mobile. But I'd like to have some sort of regularity, so I can say they were on this plot of land for this period of time, and then I moved them here, and it's been X number of days since they've been on this land, so I can now move them back to that land. Transition, getting it going. All of that to say, today, I'd really like to get everything ready so that we can bring Holly back. So I've got that fencing set up, that electric netting set up. First thing I'm gonna do is work on the water bin. Since we are gonna get back into colder temperatures, got a de-icer to put in that. Not a big deal. I would like to move it away from the fence and put it up on a pallet. And the reason I want to do that is because I also want to try to install this on the bottom. Now, we had this in our original chicken coop and it worked out pretty good. It doesn't work out so great when it gets cold, if you don't have a good way to keep the water warm inside of it. But my thinking on this is, and I'll explain this as I get a little closer to it, if I elevate that and I put the baffle, which is going to allow me to connect this right close to where this heating element is going to be. So this is going to be on the side of the tank. It's going to be on the side of the tank, and it's going to be right kind of close to the bottom. And that is going to keep all the water in there warm enough to prevent from freezing. And I'm thinking if I put the baffle connection for this right on the bottom or right near where that plug is, that's going to be where the warmest water is going to be. And so that warm water should matriculate down this hose and into here and keep this warm enough to prevent it from freezing. Now the nipples may still freeze. That's always the tricky part there. But the chickens should, or the turkeys should be able to come over and peck at these and break up whatever ice there may be in there. And hopefully if it's a sunny day, the radiation from the sun will warm this up and unfreeze anything that may have frozen. And so if I put this, if I elevate that tank high enough, I can put this relatively underneath it, but relatively close to where the water is still warm. And then the chickens and the turkeys can have a source without hopping up on the tank. We've lost a number of chickens to drownings in there. And that'll hopefully, this solution will hopefully ease that, provide a source of water that's always unfrozen. Now, we do keep the water inside the coop unfrozen, but that doesn't work for the turkeys because they don't go in the coop at night. So their only source of water is that when it's full. This will provide them an alternate source. So I'm going to be working on that. Also going to be elevating that. And then the final thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be setting up a white tape, an electric exclusion area, so that Holly, when she does come back over here, doesn't use my barn construction here as a scratch post. So going to exclude her from that area. Once all that's done, we should be able to bring Holly back over this evening. She wants to come home. I think I've said this before. She wants to come home. So I'm gonna get working on this and continue gathering all the rest of the materials that I think I need to do this. That'll be a good size. So now that I'm looking at something else I want to think of as I'm doing it, I want to elevate this. I want to be away from the fence so the chickens don't use it as a hop perch to escape. But I also want to make sure that I orient it in a way that the plug, which is over here, extension cord goes out this direction so I can run it along this and either tuck it under or run it inside in such a way that Holly can't get at the cord and chew on it, which she likes to do. So I gotta make sure I keep that in mind as I'm setting this up and orienting it the way that I want. So gotta go find some scrapped 4x4s to work on legs to elevate this. Okay, got enough 2x4 or 4x4 scraps, and I'm just gonna flip this over to make a workbench. Works for determined I want this about 2 feet off the ground. That seems about right. It's about there. High enough that chickens won't get in it, in theory. I mean, they can always hop up, but 2 feet. Figure out a way to attach these later. Can't decide if I want to cut out here or here so that I can butt up right against that block. So, kind of made a decision based off of convenience. That side was already broken, so it made just sense to do it like that. You get right up to the edge of each block there. Get to use my Christmas present. Finally actually got a impact driver instead of just a drill. It's a little high, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Holly's head is about here, normally, give or take. Right now, she's gonna get a little bit bigger, I think. She won't be able to get all the way down in here. I don't think that's the end of the world. At least not for now. All right, so now I've got to make a hole for this baffle that's going to go through the bottom and go through to the water chicken, the chicken water. I need help. Hold it right here. It's gonna get tight. Good to rinse out. Okay, something I've learned about these, you definitely don't want to over tighten them. The plastic, don't want to say it's weak, but it's not super strong either. It doesn't need a lot of tension. The washer on the inside that they give you is nice and thick. You can maybe almost even see it there. As long as you're relatively centering that hole, that washer with just a minimal amount of compression is going to remain watertight as this fills up. So don't over tighten them. Don't make the mistake I did and break one right out of the box. I didn't do that this time. Now, you can also see in here where I positioned the hole for the spout. Now obviously I'm going to flip this around. Got to make a hole in the, or a larger hole in the pallet for that to sit down underneath. So the idea is, again, with that hole being right near that element, that's where the warmest water is always going to be. It's going to be going down in there, and ideally it'll keep that line from freezing up. We'll see. Okay, got it full, ready, nice cool water. I don't see any leaks down there. Come over here. You see I got the cord run back there. Don't know whether you can see it in between the pallets so that Holly won't be able to get at it and chew. And we've got our chicken water bar here. Nipples are working just fine. They might have a little bit of a drip. It's not gonna be the end of the world. So now we can go get Holly. I still gotta set up the electric fence, but I think I can send the girls back in that corner with a bucket of feed, call her, get her over there. And I think we can get her back home, no problem. So we're gonna get working on that. And so we've got a cow back where she belongs, and we've got water set up for her and a fenced off area safe for the barn. So we're gonna call this one good. God be with you all in all that you do. And remember, keep the faith, keep up the fight. God bless.